After a month break from World Time Attack, we decided to get stuck back into work on JET200 to continue its development. With a vibration problem in the rear end, some brake bias problems, plus a few other small issues, we decided to take the car to Profab in Minto for some help beyond what we could do ourselves.
Hi, I'm Brad from Pro Fabrication Race Engineering in Minto, New South Wales. Okay, we started Pro Fabrication about 2 years ago now. I've always been in the motor trade, building race cars. We're doing roll cages from home. Okay, the main stuff that we attempt to focus on, or we do focus on, is race fabrication. So things like roll cages, custom aluminium work, surge tank and fuel cell that we're doing in the back of your 200SX. So we cater from weekend track day warriors right through to guys like yourself who are running World Time Attack, and yeah, pretty much any circuit sort of orientated work. I started my apprenticeship and I was at MacArthur Nissan just down the road here. So I did my apprenticeship at a Nissan dealer. I owned Nissans. I still own Nissans, and I don't work on, well, I do work on other cars, but when we've got problems, we know our Nissans inside out. Well, it started actually the Friday, I think it was, before World Time Attack, when you ran into some brake issues with the car. So Boz rang me up and said, look, we're having brake issues with this thing. What can you do? So we offered you a brake package over the phone, I think it was, one night. And you picked them up the next day, put the brakes on, and it was all, the issue was sorted for you. From there, John sort of gave me a ring after World Time Attack and said, look, the car's doing this, it's not doing that, can it be better? Had a good chat with him, then had a good chat with yourself, and it's sort of grown from there into something that we can help you with. And also the car fits our criteria of what we like to work on, so why not have a go at it for you? Your car is sitting at that crossover point right now. So it's still a road car, well, it's not a road car, it's a road car orientated sort of thing. So it's very basic in its setup, but you're now looking to go to that next sort of level. So we look at things like sway bar positioning, suspension geometry. You've done all of your basic sort of setup things. Now we actually need to pull shocks out, put fake shocks in, do bump steer adjustments, measurements, work out roll center heights, calculations, and go that next step. The car's very well set up for what it is, but it's the sort of thing where, like we discussed, from a road car to a race car, if you're not worried about noise, vibration and harshness and everything else, what can we now do to make the car that little bit better? We went over all of your Ackerman angles. We've obviously calculated roll centers, bump steers and everything else. So improvements can be made there, which we're looking at doing. With your fuel system, obviously we've removed your original fuel tank to fit a smaller cell. The fuel tank that was in the vehicle obviously didn't weigh a hell of a lot, but all of the associated components that go with it, bracketry, the boot floor and everything else has obviously now been removed. So that's sort of what we're looking at doing with the car at this stage. Also just identifying things that as a road car would be okay, but as a race car, they need to be improved. You've pretty much given us an open slate and said, look, if it needs it, I don't mind. So we want to see the thing go as fast as it can. I can't see why, as an S chassis vehicle, it won't do 60s around Wakefield Park. I think it's an extremely achievable thing, as others have also started to show. So we want to see the car perform its potential, but amongst everything else, we want to see you have fun in the car, which is essentially what it is.
The first step was to install the new Greddy 6-piston brakes with Alcon 355mm rotors and Project new pads. It's a bolt-on kit for a Silvia or GTR, so it was a pretty straightforward affair. The next step was to remove the subframe so we could remove the factory fuel tank. With that out, we proceeded to cut out the boot floor to make room. Meanwhile, I made up some new sway bar brackets, as the link was on an angle, making the sway bar not work effectively. With the new one in place, it means the link is always vertical and acting linearly on the sway bar. In our next issue, we will be putting in the new fuel cell, installing the front part of the cage, a new side pipe exhaust and getting the car back on track.